Hello gorgeous people, I thought I would run you through the books that I have read so far this month. I'm on a kind of a good run. So I started off with Before and After by Andrew Shanahan. I actually worked with him at some point. This was my first book that I've read of his. I do have his second one. This was a solid 4 out of 5. I loved the way he wrote it, and also the way that the blurb and the way that the book is described is exactly what you get. Like, there's no kind of hesitancy about genres or the plot or anything like that, so I really loved that. Not my favorite genre, but still really good. Then Youth Juice by 𝙂𝙧𝙧𝙬𝙀. I hated this. I think this kind of book is so, like, the plot is so what's the word? There's a word, I'm like, predictable. I just can't stand it. I've read like 3 books like this in the last month, so it's just, no, I didn't like it. I was bored, and it also just didn't really make any sense. It was a bit random, but I think it was also supposed to be that. Anyways, then I listened to the audiobook of No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai, and yeah, I was confused with this. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I think I was confused because I was like, I get it, but I think I would have preferred it as a physical book. I just think that as an audiobook it was very annoying, and the character was annoying, and his POV only sometimes felt complex and other times he just felt like a dickhead. So yeah, I was a bit mixed on that. Also, if you see me looking over here, my Sims is on and I'm just making sure that they don't fucking kill each other and die and all that shit. Then I started to read and I only just finished it, which is slow for me. Like, 15 days to finish a book is slow. Midnight Pleasure by Claudia Adotti. I hated this. I hated it. I fucking hated it. I'm so sorry, because also it was an ARC. It got sent to me not by the author but by like a publishing PR kind of place. Listen, it's a Sunday night and then I can only think about my Sims and cats, so just leave me alone. But it was so badly written, unfortunately, and it was such a boring plot. It was a bad plot. I also think it's quite hard these days to have a bad plot. Like, even Youth Juice, I could understand the plot. I think it's overwritten, but I'm not saying it was a bad plot, whereas this was a bad plot. And it was badly written, so I gave this a 1. I did finish The Kiss Quotient. That was a 5 for me. Really not what I expected it to be, but I get it. Like, I loved it. It was really good. I also finished The Arc of Hera by Jennifer Saint. I gave this a 3.5. I've always said this, but I'm always super on edge when I read Greek mythology books because I'm Greek, so I feel a bit on the edge about retellings and how people do it. I'm very particular about it, and I just feel like it wasn't even about Hera. It felt like it was about everyone, and then the bits about Hera were so emotionless. And the whole point of Greek mythology is that everyone has emotions. Everyone is betrayed or in love or, you know, going through it, or so happy, like on top of the moon kind of thing. There is so much emotion in mythology, and I don't think that you can just skip out on that. And I just feel like the last chapter was beautiful, and I wish the whole book would have been like that, because it's the first time you see any kind of emotion from her. Because even though these women are, yes, meant to be kind of ruthless and come off emotionless, they're not. And if we're in her head, we should see that that is not how she is. So I felt a bit meh about that. I did read Everything You Ever Wanted. I liked it more than I thought I would, but it did give similar vibes to Youth Juice, and they're not at all the same plot wise, but just the same vibe. And yeah, I gave it a 4. It was good. I just wouldn't pick it up again. Like, I really liked it, but I don't think I'd pick it up again. I might, but it also just gave, I don't know if you guys have seen, well, it started off as a British show, The Circle. It's now on like Netflix and in America and everything. It kind of gave those vibes. And I'm not like the biggest fan. So it was good, but I'm not the biggest fan of the whole kind of genre. I read Penance of the Byronic Hero by Paula McKenna, who is one of my besties. 5 out of 5, and I'm not being biased, that shit was so good. Then I finished the audiobook, oh my god, of Little Weirds by Jenny Slate. It's gonna be a while until I get a video out here about my tattoos, but I did get a Jenny Slate inspired tattoo. That's Marcel the Shell. She voiced Marcel the Shell. Marcel is also the name of my cat, who I named after Marcel the Shell, which is my favorite movie. So when I found out that Jenny Slate had written a book, I was like, absolutely. When I found out she also did the audiobook, I was like, absolutely. 5 out of 5. Brilliant. I fucking love that woman. What a fucking beautiful book. Last night I finished We Don't Know What We're Doing by Thomas Morris. I gave it a 2. I was really disappointed with that. It was okay. It was well written, but lame. Battery died. So then I read The Arc for Not in Love. This is not in order, by the way, because Not in Love is out now, but I did read The Arc for Not in Love by 𝙂𝙧𝙧𝙀. I loved it, but it was very heavy on the smut, which is fine. I just wish it was as equal with the fluff. You know, I think like 𝙂𝙧𝙧𝙀 is great with both, so I feel like this book could have been a bit more balanced with that, and I kind of hoped it would have been. So I gave it a 4.5 because I feel like that was the only thing like holding me back from loving it that much, but I still loved it. I think it was great. Then I read Moving Pictures by Dahl Larsen. This is the arc for this as well. This was good. I 4 out of 5 stars, and it wasn't a 5 because I feel like it's basically like a history of cinema and film, and if you don't know, if you're new here, I'm a film degree grad, and I just wish they kind of touched more on the early 2000s, because there was only one chapter right at the very end about the early 2000s, even though they themselves said that there was like a resurgence in good films that year, like not that like era, and like it did so many chapters on like early history, which is great and fine. Then they did a bunch of history on like Disney in like the first like few decades. So like when it was like black and white, when it first started, when it was just Mickey Mouse, when it was silent movies, when it was barely audible, etc. And I just kind of wished that instead of doing one final chapter on, oh, the 2000s saw a massive spike in like incredible movies according to box office, like Toy Story, and I just wish that they'd gone into that. That was my childhood. I want to read about that, you know? I think like they probably thought that people who were reading it lived through that most likely, so ignore it. But no, that's my childhood. I want to talk about it. Also, if you're wondering what's different, I did dye my eyebrows. Yeah. And then, oh, the last book I read, I'm actually pissed off about it. I wanted to get the book Teach Me to Please by Sweet Cassette. I ordered the wrong one. I ordered Teach Me to Please by Nira Stone and Nikki something. It's a book about incest. Literally, it's about 100 pages of just a daughter fucking her dad. It's disgusting! And then I went to rate it on Goodreads because I fucking read the whole thing. I was like, this is surely not the book that I like fucking put on my to read TBR. And it was like, it has 2 reviews on Goodreads and they were both 5 stars. I was like, what in the world? What? Have some shame. Shame is free. So I gave it obviously a 1 because that's the lowest you can fucking give it. Oh god. I think you can give it a 0 on Storygraph, and I did that. I was like, oh my god, there's a 0. Period. And if you're wondering why I didn't DNF and just like chuck it, is because I did not know I ordered the wrong thing until I was like reading it, and I was like in pure disbelief that this was the book that I put on my TBR. I was like, I would never put something like this on my TBR. What the fuck is this? And it was only like literally 50 to 100 pages with like the lettering being really large. So I was like, this is crazy. And I read it, I was like, I'm in now, so I might as well just fucking finish it. And it wasn't even written good. The amount of grammatical errors, disgusting. I was gonna say arguably worse than the incest, but no, that was bad. It was bad. I was disgusted. She also gets with her uncle the entire time. No, don't even talk to me about it. Anyways, I still want Teach Me to Please by Sweet Cassette, but for some reason it's not available on Amazon, and I think that's why I accidentally ordered that one, because Sweet Cassette has like 700 ratings on that one book on Goodreads, so it's like fairly, like, it's done fairly well. People love it. It's really good rated. So I thought it would be on Amazon, so I thought it would be the first thing that comes up, but when I look up Sweet Cassette on Amazon, it doesn't come up, nothing. So I'm like, fuck this is quite rude actually, and I'm traumatized on top of it. And then I sell my books that I don't read with like Ziffit, because like Music Magpie basically, but it's called Ziffit and it's for books. Because if I'm never gonna read you again, I'm not gonna chuck you away. I would honestly give you to my local charity shops, but they are filled to the brim with books. They genuinely don't need it. I don't think any of them are taking books anymore, donation wise. So I was like, I just sell it when I don't give away to charity, or I give it to friends if they want to read something, you know, blah blah. Scanned it because it had to be published, it has to have an ISBN, so I scanned it to sell it. Guess how much? 8p. Do you understand that I would kill myself? Anyway. Oh, but I'm now reading I'm still reading 4 books at once. If you again are new here, I kind of had a whole discussion about how I've really gotten into mood reading, which means I'm really like switching between audiobook, physical book, ebook, another form of ebook, because I read on my phone and on my laptop, but 2 different books because they're at 2 different times. Like if I'm reading on my phone, it's on NetGalley only and it's on the train, whereas if I'm on my laptop, it's usually through Apple Books. So I'm like usually rotating between those 4 because I'm a mood reader now. And the 4 that I'm reading are The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, which is an audiobook on Spotify. You can get it for free if you have a subscription. I loved his book Tuesdays with Maury, so I'm hoping this is good, and people actually recommended it to me, so you know, why not. The 12-Hour Film Expert by Noah Charney and James Charney. This looks so, it's again on the Arc and it's on NetGalley, and I got it at the same time as Moving Pictures, and it looks almost identical. The structure reads almost identical, so I'm confused because it's not by the same people. But then I'm starting $1 Billion Mistake by Sharon Woods, the Arc, and I have the Arc. These are all Arcs apart from the audiobook. Some Like It Cold by Elle McNichol. I've had this literally since like December, and I'm only just getting to it, and my book stacks are just getting bigger and bigger. It's so like by the time I finish these 4, I would have read 78 books this year so far, and my end of year goal is 85. So that's where I'm at. Those are my June books. It's fun, but I'm also stressed, so it's great. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know down below what you guys are reading and if you're liking it.